Basketball fans, welcome back. So the Rivers Hoopers matched up against APR and US Monastir matched up against Petro de Luanda in the two quarterfinals games for the first round to mark the conclusion of the first round. So Rivers Hoopers got beat by APR. APR are off to the semis. They'll rematch Al Ahly Tripoli in the semis to see who's going to make it to the finals. And the beef between Petro de Luanda and US Monastir continues, and Petro de Luanda were able to get one on US Monastir. So prior to these matchups, I made my predictions. I predicted APR was going to be able to beat the Rivers Hoopers, and I must say that game was it was a blowout, and I don't think that game was even close at all. And the APR team just showed that they were the superior team, especially that 33-point second quarter. That was the burst that APR had during the game that sustained itself to the remainder of the game, and they never looked back, and they wanted to really put away Rivers Hoopers. So I picked APR, and I did not count out Aludiara and Nuni Omot at any point because I knew with a healthy Aludiara, there's a high likelihood that APR are gonna make it to the finals. Hopefully, they can maybe match up against Al Tripoli in a rematch and be able to avenge the losses that they had. So, Petro de Luanda and US Monastir, those games were great. Those games were great when they played in the Sahara Conference. And this one in the first round, I must say, this one it came as a shocker to me because I expected US Monastir to go ahead and win it, but Petro de Luanda proved me wrong. And never underestimate the heart of the defending champions. I know this team looks different, but hey, they're going to match up against an Al Ittihad side, and it's going to be tough. But all in all, I'm going to be talking about the APR and Rivers Hoopers matchup. So this matchup was great. And going back to looking at the film, I was impressed with how APR played. So the matchup was between Nuni Omot and Maduta Ketch. So Maduta Ketch from Rivers Hoopers, he was the guy that carried the team in the Kalari Conference, and he was the difference maker in that. Rafael Rashad Putney, he didn't have a good game in there, and he was not able to finish the game because of an in-game altercation. And I was watching this game live, and yeah, it was a tough one. And also, Obadiah Noel from APR suffered an injury. Then then that type of productivity, you're not sure where it's gonna come from, especially when the stakes are the highest in the semis. But Nuni Omot and Aludiar were the stars of the evening for APR, and they're able to go and hit the 20-point mark in scoring. And Nuni Omot was the leading scorer with 21 points. It is actually coincidental. Maduta Kech and Nuni Omot had 21 points apiece in that head-to-head matchup. So this was awesome because Aludiaro was able to grab his strong double of 20 points and 10 rebounds. And I don't think there was anyone who was going to be able to stop an Aludiaro, especially on offense. Yusuf Endoy had his moments. He had 5 boards in there. Jamal Randall also had a strong double of 15 points and leading the game with 10 assists. So the man was willing and dealing in there. So this game, APR shooting wise, they were great. They shot a better clip than the Rivers Hoopers from downtown with their 50% shooting on 22 attempts. They were very efficient at that. And they were able to hit some very timely 3-pointers that made the difference in the end. And them shooting 62% from the field and especially a strong 69% on 2-point field goals was the difference in the out rebounding. The Rivers Hoopers 40 rebounds, 27 total assists. They were dominant and they had 10 steals in there. But Rivers Hoopers who won the steals matchup with 13 steals per game. But at the end of the day, the APR team came to ball. Peter Olisemeka, he led with rebounds for Rivers Hoopers, and Maduta Kech only 4 assists. So this was a tough matchup, and the signing that APR made to get Nuni Omot was the difference because he didn't have very good classification games in his debut for APR. But looking at how he's been able to integrate himself in the offense, he has been seamless and he is showing flashes of that 2023 BAL Finals MVP. He has that experience and he has been balling out very well for the South Sudanese side. And looking at his performance all the way from the national team, the Olympics, and right now, as we see it in APR, you're seeing this guy is a true hooper. He was 9 of 13, 69%. He didn't go to the free throw line, but also he grabbed 5 boards. He had 3 assists. Struggled a little bit with 4 turnovers, but hey, I mean, he was able to do his thing in there. And Alodiara, I mean, a healthy Alodiara, you never go wrong with this guy because he's very good at catching. He's a consistent lob threat in the pick and rolls, and he's a nightmare matchup for any guy in the front court. For the center position for the other team, or even any front court guys on the opposing team, they have a hard time guarding Alodiara. So yeah, and when he's on because in this game he shot 80% from the field, and he was 88% on 2-point field goals, and he went to the line 8 times, made 4 free throws, 10 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, completely taking over the game in his own way. And in every single situation he finds himself in, he's able to be very productive at that. So Alo Diarra is great, and looking at the Rivers Hoopers, I must say Kevin Amaya has never looked the same. I mean, he had that game of 6 points in there. Peter Olisemeka, 6 points. Rafael Rashad Putney, he had a very, very poor game in this one. And he only had 12 points on 4 of 11 shooting. He was 4 of 6 from downtown. That's the only stat that was great. Didn't go to the line, and he struggled with 3 turnovers. And Shamba Maxi Munanga, he had 4 turnovers. So I mean, this was a very, very bad game for the Rivers Hoopers, and it came at the worst time because they had a very good Kalari conference run with 4-2. Uh, they they kind of they kind of fell off, especially when it came to the playoffs. I think they were not ready for the 1 game knockout because every single game you have to be perfect, and APR understand this, and that's the reason as to why they went guns blazing. And it's a 1 game knockout, so you can have a very good regular season. When you have one bad game in the postseason, it sets you back and you're out. So shout out to APR. I mean, this is a team that I've been following all the way from the Nile Conference, and looking at just the 2 weeks away, or about 3 weeks away, they are active. And look at the rest that the Rivers Hoopers had. They played in the Kalari Conference about 1.5 months ago. So these guys, for APR are ready to go. And Rivers Hoopers kind of just fell off the wagon, and the BAL momentum, they couldn't carry it. And I must say, this is a very huge problem for the Rivers Hoopers in there because, man, last year they finished third, and this one they got knocked out in the first round, similar to what we have seen with US Monastir. And Rivers Hoopers were the most threatening last year, and the way they lost, it was embarrassing, and it is what it is. So the APR team, they are ready, and they are ready to go ahead and challenge, and they are ready for that rematch. And that rematch will be very different against Al Ahly Tripoli because given how productive this team has been, I know Obadi and all, he went down with a leg injury. You're not given updates on that, but the team is enough. The team has what it takes to go ahead and get the job done because APR dominated in rebounds, assists, bench points, fast break points. They were all over the place, and they made sure to give hell to this Rivers Hoopers team. And I don't think these Rivers Hoopers were ready at all. I know in the head-to-head matchups, the the match will have gone to Rivers Hoopers given the fact that they had a better record than APR in the regular season because Rivers Hoopers had a 4-2 record, and the APR team had 3-3 record. But if you look at even their recent form, you can see the Rivers Hoopers were coming off 2 wins, 3 losses, and you could see APR, they are coming on the comeback trail because when Alou Diarra went down, they lost to Al Ahly Tripoli in the regular season, MBB, Al Ahly Tripoli again, and in their winning form, they have been able to at least go ahead and have that good winning streak. But the Rivers Hoopers, especially coming off a loss, they were not able to they were not able to go ahead and get back. And that loss that they suffered against US Monastir in the classification games, I must say, kind of took the air on what they needed to do next and what they needed to do differently because the players that you expect to ball out and carry this team for the Rivers Hoopers and not to let them get blown out like that were nowhere to be seen in this one. And APR are going to have that rematch against Al Ahly Tripoli. So Al Ahly Tripoli destroyed the APR team in the first time they met. 90-68 was the final score. And that game, the future for the APR team looked very bleak, especially with the absence of an Alou Diarra, and he got injured in that MBB game in the Nile Conference. So it was a tough 3-game stretch where they lost back to back against Al Ahly Tripoli and MBB. But looking at the second matchup, they played Al Ahly Tripoli. Alou came back, and that game was decided by a 4-point spread. I covered it extensively in a previous video. But given the recent form, especially when they added Nuni Omot there to help, because the front court was the best for the APR side. So what they needed was a bit of wing productivity, and that's why they added Nuni Omot in there. And he was the difference because the guy is an absolute MVP. He played like the MVP that we saw in BAL Season 3. So I'm very excited to see APR go ahead and do it. I mean, they have a challenge. They have a shot to make it to the finals. I know the Al Ahly Tripoli matchup, they are going in as the underdogs because looking at the previous games that they played in the Nile Conference, I mean, it's a rematch, and Al Ahly Tripoli are up 2-0 on the APR team. But given like the recent form, there's a high likelihood that upset can be looming. But we'll not know until the semis tip off because that is where everything happens and that's where all the magic happens. So, I mean, I'm very excited with this matchup. I didn't expect APR to dominate Rivers Hoopers. I was expecting this game to be a bit close and to even put like a curveball in that said maybe this game might go to overtime. I was expecting this game to be very close, but this avalanche that APR had and the way they dismantled the Rivers Hoopers, this is something I never expected to happen. But hey, I mean, anything can happen in basketball, especially in the conference games. So it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section down below what you think about this. Does APR have what it takes to take apart an Al Ahly Tripoli? I mean, they're coming in as the underdogs, but there's always a shot. And one thing I believe in is every team always has a chance to go ahead and do it. And APR, they are ready, and they have shown that given this 2 days break that they have, they can be able to do some significant damage, and they have what it takes to get the job done. So it is what it is. So like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, get notified because I'm going to be releasing a ton of content of this nature, especially in this BAL period. I know I've not been able to release NBA Finals games, reviews like that, but hey, I'm gonna go ahead and do that on the main channel. But hey, I'm very excited covering BAL. I mean, I find myself liking African basketball a lot, but it is what it is. So that being said, I'm out. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.